Hey everyone, Will Dungy, and I'm back with another tax court litigation update. Most of my videos have been about New Jersey tax court decisions, but for this video, we're going to have a change of venue. This video is talking about Terry Kwong versus U.S., and the venue was situated in the U.S. Court of Federal Claims. And this decision has significant implications for thousands of taxpayers who may have been assessed penalties and interest during the COVID-19 disaster. So, to sum up the case or state the relevant facts, the taxpayer, after a long dispute with the IRS in 2020, requested a refund of penalties he had paid for 2007, 2010, 2011, 2015, and 2016 tax years. The IRS issued a notice of disallowance in September and October of 2020, rejecting most of his claims. However, these notices were issued in the heart of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the taxpayer did not immediately file a lawsuit with the court challenging the IRS's denial of his refund applications. So the COVID-19 pandemic went on, and the taxpayer finally got around to filing suit against the IRS in February of 2023. However, the IRS argued that his claim was untimely because no lawsuit for a refund may be initiated after the expiration of 2 years from the date of mailing of the disallowance. In Kwong, the taxpayer's lawsuit was filed 2 years and 3 months after the notices of disallowance were mailed. However, the court found that the COVID-19 disaster declaration extended the filing date for taxpayers' lawsuit to July 2023. Thus, his February 2023 lawsuit was timely. The underlying issue in this case, though, is that since the filing deadlines were told for 3 years, no interest and penalties should have accrued for taxpayer or for anyone else during that time period. The IRS had argued that they only issued extensions from April 15th to July 15th, 2020, and from April 15th to May 17th, 2021. But the court rejected the IRS's position since the executive order for the COVID-19 disaster contained no end date, and the section IRC 7508A stated that the automatic extension for filing would run 60 days after the latest incident date. For purposes of the latest incident date, the court found that it was when the COVID-19 disaster officially ended on the federal level, which was May 11th, 2023. And 60 days thereafter, when the timing of penalties and interest would begin again, was July 10th, 2023, which is why the court held that the filing requirements were delayed until then. So the court now begins counting time on July 11th, 2023. So, what does this mean for taxpayers? This means that if you were assessed penalties and interest during the time period of the COVID-19 disaster, you may be entitled to a refund. But there is a catch here. The deadline to make a claim for a refund is either 3 years after filing your return or 2 years after making payment. So, in the hypothetical case of someone who filed a late 2024 tax return. Let's say someone who filed a late 2023 tax return and you filed that return in 2024 and you were assessed penalties and interest for a portion of 2023, or let's say you were filing a late 2022, 2021 tax return. If you were assessed penalties and interest for late filing at the time you filed in 2024, a portion of those interests may have not been properly assessed against you since the COVID-19 pandemic suspended some of those assessments. Now, if you filed your return in 2024 and paid your tax at that time, you would have 2 years to assert a claim for refund for the wrongly assessed penalties and interest. Now, it's 2026. You have a very short window to challenge that payment. But so if this is your situation, you should reach out to our firm or another attorney of your choosing to see if you have a valid claim to get those that money back. However, there are several ways that this might apply to you, and all cases are different. If you think or if you know you were assessed penalties and interest during 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, then you may have a claim for refund, and you should reach out to your attorney or our firm to see what you can do going forward to see if it's possible to receive any of your money back. I hope this brought good news to you in case you want some of the penalties back. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.